Did y'all see Watch What Happens live on Sunday night with Karen Huger and Eva Marcel? If you do, you know we got quite a bit of catching up to do, okay? Typically, I don't like to mix my reviews anymore with the news that surrounds the episode because it ends up just being a long review and recap. So I try to split these things up. So today we're going to talk about the fallout from Sunday's episode, specifically some things that happened on Watch What Happens Live. Okay. So this episode was juicy, baby. And it was subtle in its juice. Okay. Subtle in its juice. But we're going to keep the conversation focused right now on Potomac and not on some shade that Eva threw towards Portia down into the Atlanta. Okay. But anyway, Sky Squad, listen, if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell button, and join the texting community. With that being said, let's get into the biz naive, right? All right. So on the episode, Karen talks about, her stance on the Chris and Gizelle situation. And she says that she stands with Ray and she feels like, Chris could apologize for if he made Gizelle feel uncomfortable and just take the high road, just to kind of be done with the situation. Now, we on the channel had talked about, it's hard to apologize for how someone else feels for a boundary that they haven't communicated out loud, and then they don't follow it up with the communication directly afterwards, and then they add some salt to that boundary as well. And y'all know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know, go back and watch yesterday's recap. The other thing that a lot of you guys pointed out was that if, for instance, like Candace pointed out, Chris did have a conversation, where else would it go? And then would that set up a pattern of behavior, as in, oh, he's apologizing, so I'm right in this situation and he was wrong? Well, Chris Bassett has had enough people commenting about him and bringing up the situation, and he felt ambushed by Ray in his own home. So he had this to say: y'all want to say that Candace and I are dragging this out. I was in my house enjoying my wife's party and got ambushed by Ray. Dang right, I was pissed off. This was a party for my wife, not some BS. Hashtag Real Housewives of Potomac. And this argument started because, not really was an argument between him and Ray, but the conversation was started because Ray mentioned Gizelle not being there. Why would she be there in this instance anyway? If she felt so uncomfortable by Chris, I can't understand why under any circumstance she would want to be in his presence at this point if he made her feel that uncomfortable. Especially now knowing that his wife feels a certain type of way about the way the information was delivered to her on television on a national platform. So Chris also said this because I'm assuming some people were questioning his use of the word ambush. And somebody pointed out that it has been actually a user by the name of Wendy's Hot Mic, which I am rolling over right now, says it has become very clear to me that y'all do not know how words work. This is the definition of ambush in the context that he's using it. And they highlighted it to say, ambush means to confront someone suddenly and unexpectedly with unwelcome questions, which is what exactly happened. So he technically used that word correct. He in the grammatical use of the word ambush was ambushed. And Chris says, thank the Lord, there really are intelligent people using this app. Question: do you guys feel like Chris should apologize, or do you think that he should just keep it pushing and move on and just never speak to the woman ever again? Let me know in the chat. All right. More from this episode of Watch What Happens Live. Now, there is some interesting things going on that Karen said about Mia and her fashions, right? They played a little game, and Karen was asked, I don't know if she was asked to choose whose fashion she preferred more between Wendy and Mia, but she discussed Mia's fashions and she said that it was connect the dots chic. Now, when she said this, Eva had to take a little long sip of her drink, because they do serve the drinks on Watch What Happens Live. Fun fact for those of you guys who may have never been to Watch What Happens Live, when you do Watch What Happens Live, they refill. I don't know if they still do it, but they at least used to. They refill that drink, or they give you a new drink after every commercial drink. So your drink is always full. So if you ever wonder why, some guests get a little free with the tongue, then it's because the drinks sometimes be flowing and overflowing, and the fun is nonstop. Watch What Happens Live is definitely a fun vibe if you ever get a chance to either be on the show, but I think they also serve drinks and cocktails beforehand for guests who are watching the show as well. But I know for the guests, they are refilling that drink or putting another drink out there because they want it to be full for the show, right? Nonetheless, Eva took a long sip of that drink. So Mia caught wind, and this was caught by our friends over at the Bro Chat. And so they reposted it because Mia actually responded to that shade. Okay. So here is a photo of Mia that she posted on her Instagram, and she said, connecting the dots. Hashtag chic. Okay. So clearly she caught that. And Karen Huger actually responded with a laughing emoji. So I would assume that things were good, but someone else posted Karen read you, and then Mia wrote she tried. Now, when I go over to Mia's page, I don't see that comment there anymore. It could have been deleted. I don't really know, because ultimately underneath, and I'll direct you guys to her Instagram right now. Give me 1 second to just pull that up because I want you guys to be able to see this for yourself. I didn't see that comment anymore, but I did see that Mia actually commented under Karen's laughing emoji that wrote cheers love with champagne flutes and a laughing emoji. So maybe at a certain point in time, they communicated with each other and just realized that Karen was maybe making a joke, and Mia is responding to the joke in kind. Did you guys take it as shade, or did you guys take it as fun shade? Because there's shade for it being that was like shady AF, because Eva definitely said it was shady, or there is fun shade, and this being one of those things, and maybe Mia recognized that. Now, speaking of Mia, okay, Mia is going to be the subject of conversation in this coming week's episode, as we did see in the preview. But before we get to Gizelle confronting, well, not really confronting, but asking probing questions of Jacqueline, we will see. Well, I don't know if this happens before or after the live podcast taping, but that remains to be seen. But what I will say is this: Gizelle has questions. All right. And so, in order to take a look at that, I just want to point you guys over to a scene on our friends over at the Peach Reports page, where they have shared a clip of the upcoming episode. I will say, as you guys know, I try not to um show the kids on the channel because that's just not what I do. Anyway, so as you guys can see here, first of all, Giselle's uh, hair looks amazing right here. Amazing, amazing, amazing. That's her look right there. Anyway, so Karen goes over to Giselle's house to bring, her daughters some birthday gifts, some Gucci necklaces or whatever. Spoiler alert. And anyway, they get to talking, and they start talking about, not only are they talking about, Karen's upcoming live show, which Gizelle does not understand. They also talk about Karen and Mia. Now, you know, Giselle asks, well, where are you guys at in your relationship at this point? And Karen says, well, we're good. I just don't want for Jacqueline to continue to try to speak for Mia, and they reflect back on that, kind of the argument that Mia and Karen had with Jacqueline in the room interpreting for Mia. And so they kind of agree on that. And then, Giselle basically mentions that she's got a lot of questions about the nature of Jacqueline and Mia's relationship. She's like, they were drinking while we were at the beach in Miami. And, you know, Mia made reference to, well, if I'm not a good friend, if I'm not making sure that my friend is good, and made a reference to, Mia, I guess, at some point in time, making a lot of money. And the inference that Giselle is making is that Mia allegedly, in some way, shape, or form, made it possible for Jacqueline to have a Porsche. Now, again, I'm saying allegedly because that is Giselle's interpretation of it. I could not really understand what it meant, because I could understand. We could look at the situation like this. I feel like this. If this is Mia's thinking, I can understand it. If you look around your friend circle and you making a lot of money and you ain't helping your friends level up in some way, shape, or form, that don't mean you buying them stuff, but that could mean that you teaching them and you putting them on game about how to get to their next level, because that's what we should be doing, right? We should be, when we get to that next level, we should be also reaching out hands to help the next person, specifically if they are friends. Why would I not put my friend on? But for Giselle, it seems to her that she's interpreting that as, she got Mia a Porsche, or she's like questioning, did Gordon get Mia the Porsche? Okay. So that's one of the first things that she talks about. The next thing she talks about is, there was a conversation that Mia revealed about, an ex-boyfriend that she told Jacqueline to try out to see how good the relations were. And Giselle indicates that maybe Mia watched it happen or something like that. And during the conversation, as Giselle is telling, Karen all this tea, Karen is like, I feel like Mia didn't open her mouth to the wrong person, because Giselle is definitely going to use this to her benefit. Okay. And we are about to see exactly how far she's about to go in that endeavor. Because then the next thing she wants to know is basically, is something going on between Mia, Jacqueline, and Gordon? Like, that's the insinuation that she is making in this conversation and wanting to know more. So we got Giselle spilling a whole lot of tea. Told y'all lots to talk about in the fallout from this past week's episode and the lead up to next week's episode. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. Potomac is heating up and it's not slowing down anytime soon. But listen, that's all we got for you guys for now. Make sure you guys keep it locked to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.